Yes, boy, Manasseh, back to the table. We have to do some serious analysis today. It's the end of year. So, I hope you guys can stick around. End of year 2022. This is my last live video in 2022. Hello, good evening, guys. Ruth, Natasha, Elvis, good evening. So, I want you guys to, on your own, start rating UPND's performance in 2022. We couldn't do that in 2021 because they were saying they were working with the PF budget. So now that 2022 has ended and we have the UPND budget at play, I would like you guys, whilst I do this analysis, to rate their performance very objectively. Don't be selective. Think of what they've done, not better, but what they've done a little bit good, and also think of the things that they are failing. This way, when we start 2023, we will remind them of these things that they have to work on to help the Zambian people have a better life or a better environment. Okay? So, you can start thinking of your rate. We're rating them from 1 to 10. Okay? We're going to rate them from 1 to 10. But then I also want you guys to give some sort of examples on why you're saying probably 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 or 9 or 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, whichever way you wanna rate them. But at least let's end the year in reminding the UPND on how they are failing and what they can do better and how they can improve. Have you finished watching the game, the cartoon? Jacob says 2 out of 10. Okay, play some game then. Jacob says, good evening, Chile. Jacob says 2 out of 10. Natasha says 2 out of 10. Natasha Muitwa, why are you saying that, my sister? Jacob, why are you saying 2 out of 10? Mwenda, good evening from Mazabuka. How's Mazabuka? So, why are you guys saying 2 out of 10? I want some reasons to why you're saying 2 out of 10. I hope I can start bringing you live. I don't know what's been happening. I can't bring, and every time I try to bring you live, it drops, everything just goes. If I click, the network drops. So, Itananen, call yourselves. This is end of year. End of year, I need some numbers. It's end of year. Before I start speaking, it's end of year, and I've told you what we are doing. We're analyzing UPND's performance in the last 1 year. That 2021, that no, we are using Natasha Muitwa says they have not kept their word. Honorable Kawangu says 2 out of 10. Why are you saying 2 out of 10, Honorable Kawangu? Why are you saying 2 out of 10? Katongo, 2 out of 10. I'm not even sure why you've given them 2 out of 10. Jackson, I'm still here. I might be here for 2 hours. I'll start talking at 6. I might stop talking at 20. Evelyn Banner says 1 out of 10. Why 1 out of 10? I want reasons. Felix says 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. Let me be writing. I think a lot of people so far, about 5 people have said 2 out of 10. One person has said 1 out of 10. Janet Mwanza, 2 people out of 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10. Because the most things they promise are not done and they are still fooling Zambians. That's a good reason, to be honest. For 5 minutes to play some music. Vale fire, kona ula, ichalo Jesu, mama, alamune, nuko sefie, Alan says, I read them 1 out of 10. The reason being that they are not there yet to give us a plan on how to navigate through the economy. I like that actually. We don't have that plan. That's true. Nicholas Mwawa says, Upnd nothing they did, only talking about PM. That's all. Mbewe says 2 out of 10. Woo! Some people are failing! 2 out of 10 is what's most people say 1 out of 10. Others are saying 2 out of 10. So far, not even half. Brian Lou says 8 out of 10 free education, recruitment of 50 civil servants. So, Brian says 8 out of 10 because of the recruitment of 50 civil servants. You know, we got 50 civil servants. James 1 out of 10. So basically only one person has said 8 out of 10. Most of the people are saying 1 out of 10 and 2 out of 10. The one is for winning the election. Alright, well, the one is for winning election. The other one is for employing health workers and teachers. Actually, that's a very good one. We are being, at least we are being honest, and that's one thing I love about it. You know, we cannot just say, okay, we don't want to be like Upnd where they don't appreciate. So, this is why we are giving them a full detailed analysis of how they've performed in 2022. Paul Kaira says 0.8. Why 0.8? Yeah. Yeah, still got 5 minutes more, so before I start talking. You want to come and have a sip? Come have a sip. It's New Year's vibes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's New Year's vibes. Katongo there. Rock says they have concentrated much on their speeches based on blame games. That's why I said 2 out of 10. Based on speeches and blame games. That's also a very good reason. Hello, Boniface, yes, we are rating Upnd. Too bad I'm working, I can't listen to your live, but I will when I'm all blessed. No worries, says whenever they fail to deliver, he's finger pointing and saying, so 1 out of 10. These are going before 2026. Good evening, Joseph. Mr. Webb, thank you so much. Oh, Victor, that's harsh. Victor, why 0 out of 10? Why? I want to listen to you, my brother. Victor, why? 4 minutes. Then we start talking. Paul Cairo says even the recruitment is questionable. Because other people are not getting paid. That's the reason I'm rating them 0.8. Simple reason? Good reason? People are saying whether UPnd have any plan to reduce fuel prices next year. No, my brother, that one I can assure you, no. Or change themselves, I don't think so. I don't think so. Ushana kwa ile shana bad. One face 1 out of 10, one goes to speeches. Well enough, Mwandu says 0.3, Mwandu why? Thomas Zulu says, to me it's 2 out of 10 because of the minimum wage, employing teachers and nurses. Big job was already done by PF. Even so, I can't fail to put the tenants in my father's already built the house. Then, I want to see this comment, it's actually a good one. Employ 30 to 40. 40,000 in council, 11,000 agriculture. Then I can give them 8 out of 10. That's a good one, my brother. I appreciate that. One says 1 out because of speeches. Samantha, hi. Samantha, I want you to rate on an objective reason basis. I want you to rate UPnd's performance this year. Wanda Machila says 3 out of 10 because they are good at pronouncements and not implementation. Joseph 1 out of 10. Just for them being in office. Oh my goodness. You guys. See what you guys. Kalonda Band. This is Kalonda Band.
Looking for a getaway at a good price? Somewhere warm? A cultural trip?
Gift Makasa, 0 out of 10.
We put all our best prices to your favorite destinations in one place.
Good evening.
Get inspired.
Guys, why 0 now? Let's be realistic. I want you guys to be, let's remove my emotions and whatnot. I want you guys to be very, because let me even put you in festive season. Ndola Chifumu, how is Ndola? Alexandria says, when are you rating the government? We rate between sectors, and when we see what is happening around the side, we're waiting for a shift at the airport. Is that better? Is that better? Is that better, Victor? How do you remember our glorious band that I want to play? Before I speak, listen to this, guys. This song, I want you guys, before we speak,
Coloca.
My live band. I'm so old-fashioned yet very modern. Right, where were we? Oh, I need to catch a breath. Woo! Mwezo funiko so wela for real. Fanwell Zimba, you're supposed to, so wela like that, Jongo tames shakapu. Let's get back to the topic. When I wanted to get you guys in the festive vibe. So I think now you can get to the festive. Abraham 3 for removing cadres. Ooh, that's a bit different from me. Because I think on mine, I have cadres as a failure. That's a bit different. That's interesting, actually. So, I'd enjoy sitting in Kabwali with this caterpillar. If you shimuka, goodness me. Right, anyway, enough of playtime. Let me catch my breath. Whew. Ninjina. I need to start going to the gym. So, UPND 2022, their performance, their governance and performance. I'm gonna start. Do you want me to start with the positive things they've done, or talk about the positive and the negative? I think you know what? Let's do this. We're going to start with what they've done and where they're failing lamentably. Wanda says this is not for luxury. They bought Land Cruiser. They employed health workers who just enjoy our taxpayers' money because they are no drugs. They were supposed to procure drugs and then employ. This is a very good. And then employ later. Wow. Wow. I love it. I love the fact that Zambians are awake. Zambians are reasoning. This is so much better. This is the dialogue that we need. Poor performance of grade 9 due to free education. Wow. That's from Lewis. So yes, so over the past 12 months, the UPND government has been patting itself on the back, saying they've done so much in 12 months than their predecessors, than what PF did in 7 years, 5 years. We'll put songs, guys. Let's talk. We'll put songs later. We'll put songs later. We'll put songs later. So they've been patting themselves back on their back, saying they've done so much, yet they've done so little. And today we're going to talk about it in a very objective way, and we're going to tell them where they're failing. And this is what's going to cost them. Okay? So, every time you hear a UPND person, or the president, or a minister, or a permanent secretary, every time you hear them speak, they pat themselves on the back. The finance minister, for example, they say it's the first time in history. It's the first time they are running government, so they always say everything is the first time for them, which is understood and forgivable. But when the finance minister was presenting the 2023 budget, he was patting himself on the back. I think that was, when he was saying it's the first time in the history of Zambia that a government has employed 40,000 plus workers, civil servants. And we're talking of teachers and nurses. So we're talking of 30,000 teachers and 11,400 health workers. Now, in their recruitment, because they were so not prepared to recruit such a large number, there was some controversy where numbers were appearing on the list more than once, more than twice. You understand? A name of a person is appearing secondary, naku primary. That was the mess in the recruitment process. So, however, we need to give it to them. They've employed, I'm not so sure if that number they claim to have employed is the actual number. Because when you looked at the list that came out, you would see some errors. A lot of errors were done where names were printed more than twice. The same name was appearing in secondary school, naku primary school, which exaggerated the number. So I'm not sure if that was corrected, but it's the issues, since we started this page, it's the issues that we raised. To say, listen, what's the actual number of the number of people you've employed? You said 30,000 teachers, for example. But there's so much discrepancies in your list that you've produced. And don't forget, this came out, there was so much pressure for UPN. I don't think UPN was so much prepared that to employ such a large group of civil servants, given the fact that they were saying we have no money. We don't have money to pay these workers. So it came at a time when people wanted to protest and there was the AU coming up. So in a way, they wanted to use that as a campaign mechanism to shut people up so that they can look like a good government is doing something, which obviously is politics, you understand. But at the same time, it came on the expense of entrepreneurs. And why I'm saying it came on the expense of entrepreneurs, we have a large number of our people, young people that have finished their high school, waiting probably to go to college or uni, that have taken up entrepreneurship in form of booths and whatnot. So once they created the 30,000 teachers jobs, or they gave these jobs, they also left people, almost 90,000 people, because it's a lot of people that use booths, a lot of people that were dependent on those booths. And so we're talking of families that these people used to keep. So when they destroyed those booths, I don't even know if whether they've been allocated. We were told they were going to be allocated. But that I will talk about it when I start talking about their failures. So yes, they have employed 30,000 teachers. And this is one thing that they pat themselves on the back. They said this has never happened in the history of Zambia, that a government can employ so many civil servants. And every time they go anywhere abroad or within the country, in districts, they always say, oh, we've employed so many civil servants. And That's health professionals as well as teachers. So that's one thing that you have to give it to them. But even if I gave it to them, because there was so much incompetence in the recruitment process, I can't give it to them fully. You understand? Because right now we don't even know the actual number of the true number of the people that they've employed. That number has been exaggerated, and then we hear that most of the people, they've not even been put on payrolls. So for us to really appreciate this recruitment, whilst it's a process, or maybe you're sorting out one or two things, we're hoping those people that have not been put on payrolls can be put on payrolls so that they start earning their money. One other thing that I didn't really like was the fact that people started getting their salaries before they could even do their job. For me, that was so much to get the public talking, to get people excited, because at no point does any job give you an advance without you working. Each time you apply for a job, whether in a public service or private sector, you will have to work, then you get paid at the end of the month. Some get paid weekly, so you have to work that week before you get paid. So for me, that was more of a publicity stunt. I don't believe it. For some reason, other people were getting salaried. I don't understand what happened there. But either way, they've employed these people. But one thing about this employment that I don't really appreciate is the fact that they always want to compare to the number of people that PF employed. Now, one thing I can tell you or the nation about PF and why they went into employment freeze as well as a wage freeze is PF embarked on a journey of infrastructure development. So you cannot employ people when you have not built infrastructure. So I think on that one, you can still forgive them because they had this idea. If you look at the 2024 UN agenda, you'll find that these all 30 teachers that Upnd are patting themselves on the back to say we've employed was actually in that agenda to say by 2024, 2023, somewhere there, we have to employ such number of people. And that was in the UN agenda, like economic growth. So, yes, they've employed these people, but at the same time, there's so much discrepancies in the kind of recruitment how they did. I hope next time they can do better in the manner in which they handle their recruitment process. When you talk of health professionals, they've employed 11,400. Again, what I don't appreciate is the fact that they still want to be like, oh, we've done better than PF. The people would decide, the Zambian people would decide whether you've done better or whether you've not done better. It's not up to the Upnd government to pat themselves to say, okay, we're doing better and things like that. It's up to the Zambian people to decide, to say, are they failing or are they doing much better than PF? But that will come later on as things progress. So when you talk of 11,400 workers, yes, you give them, they've employed those. But what I don't appreciate is the fact that when, for example, the health minister, Sylvia Marcel, when she was addressing people during the doctors meeting, whatever, she said PF employed 6,000 health professionals, which was a lie. And that I don't appreciate. I want the leaders to start telling the people the truth. Because those people that are sat, we lack a point where we go for research. Some people don't have time to go and start researching when I can go and find some money so that my children can eat. You understand? Because that's the kind of environment that we have at the moment. So, that was a lie. PF employed about 24,000 health professionals. Even with the time where they had wage freeze as well as employment freeze. So I think we need, as leaders, when we start conveying these messages, not just publicity stunt, not just exciting the masses, let's do some sort of research and present the actual figures. And when you want to make comparison, let's make comparisons based on the actual figures. So yes, the Upnd government has employed 11,400 health professionals. So that's one part of where they've kind of fulfilled their promise, if you want to call it like that. Then we go to free education. So when President Hakainde Hichilema was in opposition, he said he's going to introduce free education, which now has been introduced. Again, it's about the manner in which this free education was introduced and the manner in which it's being handled. Because I think we've got so much reports where teachers and schools are having challenges. Because one thing that the Upnd government overlooked in their free education policy is the well-being of people like gardeners or people that clean toilets at schools. Who's going to pay what? So I think in 2020, they should look to revise this free education policy so that it can also accommodate those people, caretakers in schools, tissues and things like that. And also ensure that this money, it goes to a school or constituency in ample time. Because right now, schools are opening in January. This free education, if the money is not there, the free education that the UPND government has introduced, if the money is not there in time or it gets late, what's going to happen to these schools? How do they especially primary schools, because primary schools, it requires that mama tisho poyali, they are caretakers, the surrounding is clean, all those things. And that also falls under, I think, CDF, that they've also increased. But given the fact that of the 2022 budget, the 25 million that was given to every constituency was only 5% of that was being utilized. So we don't know where the 95% of 25 million, where it is. So you can see that even with the free education that they continuously say, oh, we've brought free education, there's so much discrepancies that requires them to actually pin down and tackle these things and ensure that this free education is sustainable. One key issue that I took out from this free education policy is where President Hakainde Hichilema was asked on BBC to say, yes, you've introduced free education, but how sustainable is it in the long run? Which he failed to answer the question. For me, that's worrying, because when you implement policies like free education, for example, you have to ensure that this free education is sustainable. It's not just going to start now and stop at a certain point. You have to have like an outlook on where you want it to go and how you can improve it. So I was expecting the president to give us some sort of outlook on how this free education is going to be implemented in the manner that it is sustainable in the long run. So that's the thing. You know what? Maybe you are new here, Mutale Bernard. You people like to have a confrontation or talk. I'm talking about real issues here. I would urge you to just leave this platform and go somewhere else. Okay? One thing I don't tolerate is insults and what not to get yourself heard or something like that. So if you're not getting a point, please, I beg you, leave. It's as simple as that. Don't waste your tumatu kwacha bundles here. It's as simple as that. Okay? Let the people that need to listen, that need to interact and debate on real issues affecting our people, our school-going children, have a say and debate in a very mature manner. I'm not going to go your route. I don't do that. I don't do that. You understand? I don't go down that level. I'm far beyond that level. So anyway, that's on the free education policy that I'm talking about. There's so much discrepancies there as well. We don't know what's happening. We don't know how the schools and when the schools are going to be able to get this money. So yes, these policies, the thing is, it's easier to come out on a platform and say, we've done this, we've done this, we've done it. But how is it working? How is it being run? Are you releasing money on time? Because there's so many issues that these schools are now saying, when I feel because we could use for PTA made us to say, okay, PTA we do one or two things that they're failing to do. Even tissues now, they have to wait. Because now nobody is contributing something at school. So the government has to up their game to ensure that every term, they give out this money to these schools so that those children, especially primary, for example, toilets for the school, the young ones, need to be cleaned regularly. You need cleaners there. So when you introduce such policies, you need to cater for that. You need to ensure that you budget for that. These are called overhead expenses that in that policy you might overlook, and it's easier to overlook. You understand? So we have these challenges in these schools by UPND. There are challenges in these schools. And yes, the president saying, buying desks and whatnot, what. He's talked about that. This is where I argue to say, listen, if you're going to implement something, you're going to bring a policy, something, have an idea or some sort of path to say, okay, this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to sustain it. Right now, we don't know if this free education, come 3 years from now, is going to continue and is going to be sustainable. Why I'm saying we don't know is because the president himself failed to answer a simple question. How sustainable is this free education in the long run? The only answer that he gave was, he was answering with a question saying, is this the right thing to do? The answer is yes. But that wasn't the question. The question was, how sustainable is it? Because we don't want a situation, because then it's like going back and forth. We don't want a situation 2 years down the line to say, free education is not working, we're bringing out this. Then we did nothing. You understand? So even this free education, yes, you can patch yourself. It's a good policy. It's a good policy that requires adequate finance. It requires finance, and it has to be sustainable. It has to be continuous finance. But looking at the UPND right now, with their budget and knowing that the Zambia at the moment is not generating any revenue, I don't know how this is going to be. I think that's why the president had it tough for him to answer such a question. But yes, we gave him the introduction of free education. Then we go on I'm talking of the things that, first of all, they impart. So free education, as well as employment of health workers. And I've raised the issues, the concerns surrounding these policies, and the recruitment of health workers and teachers. So then we go to CDF. CDF is one area also that does not miss in every speech. Constituency Development Fund, Constituency Development Fund, Constituency Development Fund, Constituency Development Fund. But again, it comes down to, where is this money? People were taught to form cooperatives in order to access this money. And then towards the end of the year, when we were saying, where is the money? People have formed cooperatives, but they cannot access this money. You know, when you speak of figures, it's not just about on paper where you say, okay, now to increase CDF from 1.6 million to 25 million. It's not just on paper. It has to have an effect to those people in the constituencies. But if those people in the constituencies can't see that money and can't make use of that money, then it's a farce. It's a farce. We just want people to praise us. And when we spoke of the entire 2022, we spoke, where is this money? People formed cooperatives that didn't work because this money was not available. It was on paper, but it was not physically available in people's hands. And now towards the end of the year, the finance minister comes to say, okay, we reached 75%. Where was the 25%? And then make matters worse, of that 75% that was released in the constituencies, only 5% was utilized. So we are talking of 95% of 25 million. If you calculate 25 million by the number of constituencies that we have. 25, that's 2.5. So 25 million by 156 constituencies. That's 3.9. 3.9 billion was allocated this year for CDF. 3.9 billion. But if you calculate the 5% from this 3.9 billion, that was the only money that was utilized in the all 156 constituencies. So then you ask, where is the rest of the money? And usually, I hear that when the money has not been utilized, it has to be taken back to the treasury and not say, okay, tukaita includes Muri next budget. Uwabufi. Nishkwala anomba. Epa mresa msangat. Okay, kwa mama gwagu. Because on paper it says, yes, we've reached 3.9. For ZDF for the year end 2022. Good evening, Ivan. And then only 5% of that money was given to 156 constituencies. So where is the money, the rest of the money? So if that money was not utilized and it was released, it has to be collected and taken back to the treasury. Why, Monaga? Not even for that, tuala ibika muni 2023 budget, because now you're talking of, instead of giving the constituencies 28 million, you have to give them 48 million on each constituencies because of this money. So you don't have to release the 28 that's just for that year of 2023. We're talking of what about that money that was not being given? If you calculate 5% of 25, for example, 5 times, let me just do this. So, that's the thing. If you calculate that, because they're saying 5% is what was utilized. So each constituency, instead of getting the 25 million that it got, each constituency got about 1,250,000. If you look at their budget, the money that was allocated to CDF, the money that was released was 75%. And the money that was utilized was only 5%, according to the finance minister, Stumbeko Musokotwani. So we are talking, if each constituency was supposed to get 25 million, 5% of 25 million is only 1,250,000 kwacha. 250,000 kwacha. Which, if you look closely, since they are saying we've increased CDF, but PF, they were being laughed at to say, but PF was releasing it, they allocated 1,600,000 kwacha. So which one is better? If but PF was giving the constituency the entire 1,600,000, and the 5% that has been given to each constituency on just this year 2022, PF budget. You are talking of by Upnd has reduced. I am so particular with numbers. By Upnd has reduced the 1.6 million that PF was given to constituencies by 350,000 kwacha. Mnaitamba kulanda challenge tuletamba navale chalo chilekutika mlekutika navale tamba vale mfwako mwalanda mwaimona so nomba nga wairolekesha bwino bama mwe bali kumushu kuma constituencies mwalasa ngati chawama pona iraine ba mipere iri at okay iyi 1600 because mware senda yonse then utupimfya twandalama na ye yapwa mwamona ka ero ubwafya bulipo pali CDF na futi. There's so many things that this CDF has to do. But PF, for example, E16 was just for constituency. Mwebe no tamwa ama road development, tamwa ama free education, tamwa rifya shan. No manga mwa irodekesha CDF. It's not just about forming cooperatives. Emu di free education umamuine, emu di na mtuani kabali chanjala ba Upnd. Emu di maybe na no tuma road development what mudi CDF mwini. So they've gotten all these projects that was run by the government, but PF used to run this some of these projects like roads, whatever, maintain what as a government. Then CDF was just okay, 1 million yala kudi constituency, and you can do with it whatever you want. No, ba Upnd jopo ile shupira CDF. Nimpa kwa bati. Ira CDF it's going ukwingi ile chitefin twifingi CDF. Mwamona ka? So mwana sango kwa bati ga mwai konka mwasanga root cause mwa ushuru muno mushiru. Mwana sango kwa bati the only money that was given to the constituency according to the finance minister was only 1,250,000 kwacha for the year end 2022. So where is Iintwanikan? If you do this, each constituency, by the way, so ngamwasa 30 minus so mwana sangati each constituency ya no na ishara nenkongore ya 23,750,000 kwacha. So number 23,750 kwacha, 23,750 kwacha. Where is the money from each constituency? And then mulela ndati na mushtafuti increase to what? 28 million for the year 2023. Mwae mwana? Nomba nge MPA iya lino kubomba mu 2022 ishere ko 23,750,000 kwacha ili kuisa. Who has this money? And if they have this money, it has to go back to the treasury, so that twice the account to say, okay, year end 2022 we had budgeted for this amount. The actual is this amount. Variance ni so much amount which is favorable, which can be utilized for other things. So it goes back in the economy. Mwae monaka? So variance, if we look were favorable, because your planned budget only actualized by 1.250 million. So if variance here 23,750,000, it has to be favorable to favor you, CDF, which can be channeled back into the economy. So EMPA 23,750,000 kwacha. Ilikuisa CDF. So let's not just increase and announce on the budget. Me, I'm following the data that was presented in Parliament when presenting the 2023 budget. This is what the finance minister said. Yes, he admitted about CDF. He said we had some challenges. We see it wasn't implemented very well. That's what he said, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Musokotwane. He talked of how much was released and how much was utilized. When you release money, it has to show that, okay, EIO, and 5% was utilized. 5% was utilized, meaning air bombele for the year end 2022. So where is the money that has not been used? Has it been taken back to the treasury? Or is still roaming Katuishima streets Mumwera? Why monaka? Let me read this comment. At dataless, you don't even know what you're talking about. You are just fumbling with words. No data, confused. Government released over 20 million. What is delaying the approval of projects by the Ministry of Local Government? Said it will not mop the accounts. The money is still sitting in the accounts. You're so down. In it? I pity my pressing. I really pity you. I really pity you. Imagine if this guy is your dad. Na sana kanga. I earned about 20 million. And I bet you your 20 million I that in be on say ama constituencies. You know, when you come here to come and sound smart or call names and whatnot, come with actual data. Not hearsays. I don't do hearsays. One for Brian. If you're gonna come here as a cadre, come with actual data, not hearsays. Urekutika. Mwirase banyabana. So anyway, that's on CDF. Mwamunaka. So, however, UPND says they've achieved, they've increased CDF, they've done what. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if the increment in CDF turns out that Emulina no mami allowance. This is the reason why we increase, because in us I'm not emi allowance. But I sneak in. They want to shut up Bamonk. Remember Bamonk to say you are dogs. Monk from Monk Ambo State House. By Shire become of age. So I won't be really surprised if this 28 million caters also for me allowance. Mamoraka. So, that's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised. Because so far, we've been taught lies. It's about lies. Now, if you're not so anyway, so with the CDF, we're going to give them. They've brought it. They for them. We give them. We are not like UPND where it does not give credit where it's due. So it's there. But if they can work on these issues I'm raising concerning CDF in 2023, probably. Nishi? I don't know. But I won't be surprised if the 28 is catering for meal allowances. Yaba Monk. The other thing that they've done in I've talked the increment, so I won't talk about the increase in CDF, which is the same, is abolishing of death penalty. On this one, to be honest with you, I've always been straight with you guys. I've never supported death penalty on my side. And obviously, I know this has raised so much outcry from the Zambian people, and I do understand. And some of the comments and concerns that the Zambian people have raised are to say there are people that have had their families God bless their soul, may the souls rest in peace. You know, like where families have had their family members killed and they want to get justice and they have to ensure that the justice is served. So death penalty, even though I don't think Zambia has put somebody on a death row in quite a long time, I don't think PF was doing that. But anyway, that's a lot of concern that a lot of you guys have raised. But on the same concerns that you have raised, there's also some concerns where other people are saying, kulaba sometimes umuntu bamwikatira echabufi nimbitewa atiromlandu, and at that point he ends up dying because of, you know, bamwikatira echamlandu. Ero ijashirasa umfika palas to say how can should umuntu adiwa wrong. So then at the end of the day you should umuntu na chitenshi nafwa. And that was my side as well. And I really feel that it's really hard for families that have lost their loved ones to ever come to terms of losing their loved ones. And the only justice they can get, I feel, is by having somebody hanged. But I don't think that's justice. That won't save you anything, because that won't bring back the person, sorry to say. But at the same time, I don't think it makes us either better people because we've hanged that person. So I feel like the death penalty thing is one thing that they've really done well by UPND removal, even though it has to be subject really to Parliament again. And usually when you're removing laws like this, it has to go for a referendum. So we're expecting people to vote for it. I think leaders have to be open. You cannot, as a leader, as an individual, you cannot make decisions based on how you feel. You have to consult. So, in as much as I feel to say I think it's a good thing, but you have to give option to the Zambian people to say, listen, this is what we are feeling. This is what has been presented in Parliament, but we want you, the Zambian people, to have a say. How do we go about it? Then you get a referendum. And I think that's what President Hakainde Hichilema missed on this one. I think a leader has to be inclusive. Not just during campaigns, not just during voting time. Every decision that you make concerning the governance or the people, you have to include them in such, especially decisions where you have to remove the death penalty.
I dropped my burger gum by my mouth by accident on the floor, but I can't see it.
All right.
I just can't find it.
Well, look for it, because you're going to step on it. Davis Musana says, if the money is in the account, please let me have 2 million so that I can invest in my business and employ the youths, while some of Basila's UPN are oh my God, I can't pronounce that word, Davis. Ostentatiously, yes, displaying gifts. Exactly. You know, this is why I felt lazy to answer that. Because why keep the money in the account when people in the constituencies are suffering? What's the point? And it's been released in the accounts. Esho baka wonfia na next year shine isha not womba inoye. Why moraga? That's why I felt lazy to answer him. I just forgot.
Can't put it anywhere.
Okay. Why moraga? Because why it's the same thing with the saving of 154 million from agriculture. Why save money when farmers need fertilizer? It doesn't make sense. Not one bit. It doesn't make sense at all. So I just ignored him. You know, when he started saying, oh, they said the money is in the account. Why? The money should be with the people. Na muchelwa, ye na ipwa, as the money is in the account. And you call me down. Ye end na ipwa, mwala mokta introduce budget year 2023. As the money is in the account, it was very pathetic. Why should the money be in the account when people in the constituencies are suffering? When people in the constituencies need that money. If that money is in the account, that's the same money probably you want to come and use for 2023 budget. So mwina kumwaka tatuwa kwa tamana. Ero mwiyamba no kumpanga kwa tina kadimo. Ukura mbirimisha kumutima. I'm very settled here. I'm very being practical here. So don't raise my temper. People are not stupid. You think people wale rale nsana nempia shirimu account ni fiamano. suffering the constituencies. Youths are roaming the streets. Have you empowered the youths? Crime levels are up because there is no empowerment of these cooperatives that they were taught to create. So what are you talking about? And yet you're saying money is in the account. Which year? Year now, what money is in the account? The money was supposed to be in the account in January 2022. So that this year, our youths, they do something, entrepreneur, what they do something with the money. You think you can just be coming up at the point where you just make my excuses over nothing? People are suffering in the constituencies, and it's not jobs. If you are eating, doesn't mean that somebody else is eating. You are failing to procure drugs, you've got 20 million in your accounts. You've got 20 million in your account. Why are you keeping money in the account when people are dying without drugs? Now, therefore, I want to end on a good note here and start on a good note. Don't raise my temper. Queen Coco tafuru. So anyway, guys, that's on the abolishment of death penalty. That one, I think I would have to be nice about it. I would give it to them. Even though I feel like, yes, you are right. You guys are right. You should have had a say on it. So that the majority voted a president. Then that law, depending on how you guys feel, whether Queen Coco says, I'm okay with this one, it's not just about me. It's not just about me. It's not just because Queen Coco is alright with it. It's about you, the people. Are you okay with it? So you should have been given that opportunity to have a say. But alas, it seems like when people get power, and this is where leaders lack it. Because the qualities of a leader, you have to be inclusive. You have to even ask the youngest person to say, what do you think about this? How do we go about it? Let's give the people a chance to vote. So when you talk of defamation of the president, I watched Tayali's video today. I watched his press briefing that he had. I watched his video yesterday. And I think I remember saying, you guys don't get too excited. Social media, you never know. They can catch you on other things. We don't know what they've replaced with this defamation of the president. Frankly speaking, I don't think UPND and its supporters are strong enough to remove the defamation of the president. I don't think they are that confident enough. So it's either they're going to catch you on defamation of a character or hate speech. I saw Tayali talking about some young guy has been arrested because of hate speech. So all those things, they will try to arrest you because they think it's a hate speech or things like that. But if there's a removal of defamation of the president, let it be. Let's not try to start squeezing people over petty issues. UPN used to speak. They used to call people names. And that wasn't treated as hate speech. I don't think so. So it's just when people are playing politics, this is why I urge the number of youths. Like you guys, just be careful. When you make my videos on what happened, say what you want to say, but do it in a manner that it doesn't get you into trouble. Because I'm suspicious. I don't think UPND as a party is strong enough or is confident enough to say, okay, to have defamation of the president. I think they'll catch you on one or two issues. But yes, they've removed the defamation of the president, which is a law that everybody was saying it shouldn't exist. It should have been gone. And I think you got to give it to President Hakainde Hichilema for doing that. Whether he has good intentions or not, time will tell. Otherwise, for now, it's there. It's been removed. And yeah, it's there. So I've outlined the things that I've given by UPND, and I've also talked about my concerns on all these things. And I hope these concerns can be heard and can be taken as a positive criticism. Whilst I give it to you, there's some errors that you need to work on. You understand? So, yes, we have free education. UPND introduced it. We have an increment in CDF, abolishing of death penalty, recruitment of health workers. But there's so many issues surrounding all these things. And I hope 2023, you can sort these issues out and iron them and make sure that the Zambian people start having some positive effect from your policy introduction and implementation. Let me read some of your comments. Patrick Chibamba says, there's no money in the account. If the money was there, why should people be suffering? If they have money, don't forget about tax holidays which they gave to the mine where they were supposed to be generating money. I think I agree with you, because what's the point? It's like munganda abana badinensala elo wishina kwatenda rama mu account. Abana bobe bare shingwana nensala. Once you have the money in the account, does that make sense? Let's be realistic here. Panga sense muchine fena mchinga. You let your children starve, but now kwatenda rama. Now kaka indanama. Panga fe bueno panga fe sense. Come on, guys. Let's, even when we debate these issues, I don't mind you debating, but don't call me down because you disagree with me. Give me facts. Give me solid facts to say, why is the money in the account and why is it not being given to the constituency? Why keep it in the account? Because you think, I've hammered Queen Coco because I've told her she's down and then she has no data because somebody says the money is in the account. But what is it doing in the account? It should be on the ground working, producing results. See, Queen Coco is not just Queen Coco, so don't start with me. Anyway, so I hope everybody has had a glimpse of what the UPND government has done. Frank High and the rating. When I finish, that's why I'm going to rate them based on these things. You think they've done much, right? Hey, wait until you hear what they've not done. Wait until you hear what they've not done, which is very vital for any economy. For any growing economy, or for any economy that's claiming that we are stabilizing the economy. Wait until you hear it. Again, you know, put wine. Again, you know, put wine, guys. KB Piri says, let me read from Stefan first. Stefan says, the question is, what about those who were arrested for defamation of the president and still in custody and still appearing in court? Apparently, I hear as long as it was done then, so it still stands. Can you imagine? That's why I'm very cautious with this defamation. Be careful. KB Piri says, I want to see KB Piri's. It doesn't make sense, just like when the president announced that they have saved millions of dollars on FISIP farmers. And yet farmers were sharing fertilizer. Exactly. Zambia to be called Christian nation. That's from Nation. I remember they were FDG abolished death penalty. Baby girl, on this one, let's do the research on the death penalty. Okay, we'll talk about it. I will do some research. I think so, because I remember, I don't think PF has executed anybody. I don't think so. I think we need to, I will do some research. Thank you for highlighting that. So Axon says there is no money unless someone can't use their brains well. Otherwise, this is another lie. I want to push up because Ngawani release 20 million. Even if they release 20 million, we want to arrest. Okay, my release 20 million. Which means they released 21 million 250,000. Okay, if I'm going to pay pressing, I don't pay that you've released 20 million. Like if you never by finance minister, they've released 75% of 3.9 billion. Ka? So to pero pressing, they've released that money. But the key that I think he missed it. I was talking of what they've utilized. Each constituency in Zambia, 156 constituents. I think he missed the point. Is only 1.250 million. You can raise money, but we are talking of what has been used, what has worked. Paul Kaya says the last time the death penalty was last used was during KK, and I think so. This is the thing, guys, and I love the fact that you guys are. I appreciate you guys. My youth, now mubuka. Umuntu teta mi bepe nowadays. Takudi ukushinga but that's why 2026 nika fuafu. Come with big manifesto. You think kumu bepe 2026? Woof. Hey, John Chira says all the death sentences that were commuted to life imprisonment. No one has been on death row since 2015. Uy. This is the thing. They are vigilant. They are awake. My mona. I think no matter you know. Problem about Upnd. If you're the first time, like I said, remember, if you're the first time in the history of Zambia. So when according to them, they want to make headlines. That is the first time in the history of Zambia that a Zambian president has addressed the European Union. Fionza the first time. Wafia budip. Mamon. Dominic Mulenga says, Queen Cobra, my sister, this government are very good in talking. No one has received CDF. Ask all 150 MPs. Nothing. It's only on paper. Stefan Mulongos, as for me, the death penalty was just a rubber stamp because it was not being used as it is used elsewhere. Since UNIP, have only witnessed one signature in 1997. Data! All the people sentenced to death were automatically sentenced to life imprisonment. Do you realize that we have some people who love to be in prison? Those kind of people who have no fear to kill or do any first-degree crimes. The law was not in any way troubling us Zambians. Wuko! Guys, you're making me happy. Michael says, Charlotte Alaulampanga, watching you from Kantash. Kantash, that's my hood. Don't have Yadwidoko. Kantash. Nukumwesu, Michael. Nukumwesu. Born and bred, na ego. Paran pension pa ego pat. Para pesku dia bachino, no para bantu ere batata.
Mommy. That's what. Only 2%. Can you remember the one before? Okay.
But you don't need this because it's gonna die. You've seen.
Well, I could play for like a little bit before it goes.
Right.
Then I can play on my console game.
Okay. There you go.
Thanks.
My mona abantu bali no data. Abantu bali na data. You still you go secondary school now? Okay. But why the prepare? Why do you kwa fiash but pera kwa education? Paranish pa fia wasungu na vamwenye. It was rare that black people used to go there. Anyway, let's not lose ourselves. So it's a good thing that the Zambian people are awake, and it will be a very tough this time around. I don't think a politician will come and lie to a youth, and a youth will just go yes. And this is why this platform has been created, is to have this kind of conversation, dialogue, to enlighten ourselves. Like me, I was wondering if that I wasn't really sure that it was removed or it was in the seal. So now you guys that have information have given me their information saying that why you won't put the trouble, which is very good, which means you guys are equipped with information, and I love that. I love that, and I love this dialogue that we're having. I hope we can have one-on-one. Katwish, I need to sort this page out. So let's go to what they've not done. Oh, thank you, Michael. What they've not done in 2022 and what they've messed up, and that's, I don't know, this is what's going to hurt us a lot in 2023. This is going to hurt us. I'm going to start first of all with agriculture. Agriculture. The removal of subsidies, the FISIP, mwafano kuiperesh nadimbi just because you never PF, what, you know, you've killed the farmers. You've really messed up the farmers. A lot of Zambian people survive from the land. They till the land, they get food from there. A lot. We have a lot of subsistence farmers in Zambia than commercial farmers. A lot of Zambians, if you had done your agriculture sector, if you did it very well, a lot of Zambians could have benefited, and they couldn't have really been worrying about melemeo because ngabale tuaisha fikufigai. Ngakwale afyo kudia afya mgoa uga umwagai chafre finish kushide. Shire. If you really worked on the agriculture, it could have given by UPND a breather in 2023. But now we are hearing at Ubunga already in December, Ubunga na ushota Copper Belt, Ubunga na ushota Mulusaka. And now the price is 200 kwacha, 204 kwacha. And Samamwamba says, because of you, some of us have even started researching so we can debate with facts. Beautiful. Oh, awesome. Thank you. That's beautiful. I think that's what we need. We need a number of yous to engage in these dialogues in a more productive manner. Thank you so much for doing that in summer. Yes, Kebi, Ministry of Agriculture and Media Affairs. I know. So, whilst the UPND thought, didn't really think of it, because when you look at the agriculture sector, a lot of Zambians, as long as never kwa totubunga, otumuna ni kutuba asanshiri sharp. You know what I mean? No bala sharp wa otumataba, bashitaka mnani, inshkushireya whilst there, bade chaya, bade chita haso. Mwamonaka? But they even mess up the agriculture where now farmers are not going to be able to farm or, you know, gets what's the word? Basombola ofo bafuiro sombola. And given the prices of meal now, it's because they will still go up. One, because there will be shortages of maize. Two, because of the production costs. So we have two sectors of the economy that are pushing prices of the most commodity that Zambia enjoys up. So the agriculture sector is the worst we've ever had in the history of Zambia. And frankly speaking, a lot of farmers in Zambia were so expectant, had so much high hopes when it came to agriculture. They hoped to say, okay, at least for agriculture, for everybody me, to send them a fertilizer 8.8. Even if we have to buy fertilizer, to the fertilizer by 200, 250 kwacha. So they looked to say, hang on a minute, MPF to reach the fertilizer by 600, 750 kwacha. So imagine I'm a bags of fertilizer on Ingashta if UPND came in power and they gave us fertilizer pamutengo wa 250 kwacha. So they went out. They voted for 250 kwacha. Those that were on FISIP, because they were told they'll get a very nice FISIP, a very good FISIP, instead of getting six ama bags, they'll be getting 8.8. I'm gonna, okay, I'm gonna send the 8 apapo nderima nishpakulira, which means I'll be able to cultivate more. No sombora more. So I'll go and vote for UPND. And because HH Murimi, he understands what we the farmers go through. So what do the farmers do? They go and queue up to vote for HH and UPND. To vote for 250 na masaka yama fertilizer 88. So it's a sad state of affair because when you look at 2021 year end, my farmers were not tabarea kana mumameda. And this is a time when UPN was saying we are using the PF budget. But even when they were using the PF budget, even they were saying that PF messed up the economy because PF had already procured fertilizer. Tabakene ama farmers mu farming season ya 2021-2022. We had no incident where farmers started ukwakana mutuma meda imbuto na fertilizer. So now we are now on the actual UPND budget. And we have these instances where farmers now bambi bale bat face mulipira ma 400 kwacha muste register nama NRC. But this is where I don't understand. Because our farmers Muzambia badi ishiba beni. Badi ishibikwa. Mwaimona ama farmers Muzambia badi ishiba badi Muzambia badi ishiba. No, that's why when they set up the price, ama farmers bale kalaka bungwe to say, okay, once it warasha shinga could if FRA, let's determine this amount of price. That's what we are going to accept when you take a matabaku FRA. That each one is not maybe Congo. So they know each other. So at one, I don't think, you need it as long as somebody is Zambian. You needed them to pay my 400 and things like that. What we are cleaning up FISIP. Cleaning up FISIP in what way? Because at the end of the day, you know for the fact that Zambians abadi manyaba. They are Zambians regardless. Okobeka. Whether Tonga, what, Bali shibikwa. Mamonaga. So on the agriculture part, Pena Mwandini, you've messed up big time. And why I'm saying that the UPND now I become tight spot because they could have gotten away with giving mineral royalties tax. They could get away with that with the mining sector, even though Copperbelt is very upset. If they did well in agriculture, agriculture ngabadi bombere bwino ngayale na shako abantu imitima ngakwali ukadati at least kwa agriculture na ngwe banga bare fwaya to say impia shida turepoka ko kumaini shiri so eshitwatwara kwa agriculture abantu ngabadi nakire ko emitima mwamonaka. And people could have said mine shingire nshtori mbinde afe kufamu nde antimeko. So it's that leeway thing I talk about where if one sector of the economy is performing badly, at least I want to balance sector imbi to say, okay, at least sector and at least it even gives hope to the people. It gives hope to the people to say, okay, can't at least ukuba wami yako ukufilenda bwino. So at least maybe in future, so let's concentrate on this sector. Let's grow it so that we expand it. But when you look at the mines as well, where we're supposed to be getting most revenue, it's a mess. It's a disaster. And it's biting. The mines are biting. Copperbelt right now. Baka sheko feba president, baka ife Copperbelt, baka epitako. Baka piteko fena mfati mruansha, mufurira, chira wombwe, na kuchingola. Noti baka diroku kuko barea weka diroku ya. Let him go Copperbelt. Let him just visit Copperbelt and see the atmosphere there. The heart of the Copperbelt is the mines. It's not about teachers or nurses. Each province has got its own heart. Murusaka ni business, entrepreneurship, yawa Murusaka. That's why you find that abantu bakuka entrepreneur. It's a busy town. Monse fionse iba centralized Murusaka. Mamonaka. When you go to the copper belt, you even know ukunikumi god. Shimai na refora. Shimai ninga fora. Business yala booming. But then Shimai that was also promised. A Shimai that was promised to say you have better conditions, you won't lose jobs, we'll give you licenses so that you can start. No foreigner will be given mining licenses. That was the promise that the people on the copper belt got. No foreigner, no Sudanese, no what will be given license. Imwate Jerabos, you small-scale miners will give you licenses. You'll be able to mine. And when you mine, HH, it's got connection, so we'll be mining finished products. Instead of selling pari shinga shingoko, pari 1,000, we'll be selling pari 2,000. Profits, more money in the system. That's what the miners were told. That's what the small-scale miners were told. That's what the Jerabo units were told. And this was being spoken at the president's residence. So it's there. It's on the media. I don't do propaganda. What did Copperbelt do? Even when they blocked HH by PF, Chilawongwe gave by HH votes. Chingola. Nakumufurira kuine. Which can say the Copperbelt gave Upnd a vote. And today, people have lost jobs. And you wonder, how does Copperbelt survive? There are more miners than nurses and teachers on the Copperbelt. Because most of the works that are being done, abengi abarumendo balestanga bapo amaskulu aya spokopwa silicos aingira mine para lera ukuya college or para pena lera kuna college ukware ingira mine. So what they used to support their education through working in the mines. But right now, when you say empowering youths used to empower themselves during PF. Because the way the youth used to empower themselves is like the way I've given you an example. Get a silicos, upwish a great top, instead of kwaya wa yafe mumushi. Na ishiba na la ingira kupa maini. Na karafura kuna nkatupini. As a general worker frefine. Na karabombako. And that way, you keep a lot of youths busy. Instead of them roaming in the streets, instead of them thinking or just going, maybe mukupepa or mukunwa, they're in the mines working. They'll have less time to do crimes or things like that. This is why now Zambia is experiencing high levels of crime. Because as we speak on the copper belt, there's a large group of youths that cannot even have a silicos to go and work in the mine. It's that bad. Because even the Bamsawai Kala mine in Mudia, they are losing jobs. And the worst part on the copper belt, mining sector ngata ile bomba. Fionsenish business ya business takuli. Bana market tabashtishe. And this is the truth. I'm telling you this because I've lived on the copper belt, I've grown on the copper belt. I know. Pawansh mining gafura bana market ama orders in people will buy things. They'll make money. So whilst you're killing the miners, now bana market vene mareshta safa because there's no one to buy their products. So matomato imisa rufia la bola. These are real issues. Issues that these leaders don't want to address. Each person has got a role in the society. Shimaini kuya mkuimbo mkuba. Ngaimba ala sashite kuri na market. Na market amku lima oroku kungura ama vegetables kuri bashima farm. Bashima farm bala lima. You know, these things are how they work. So, shima farm wadima, na market ya kungura, shima farm apanga profit. Na market ala leta firefi into town. Nga leta firefi into town. Shima ini kudia oko are bombare imbo mkuba. Ala chitashani, ala fola. Ala sashite kuri na market. Na market to make profit. Shima ina ala aja. Shima ina ala ya bomba. So each person, regardless of their position in the society, they play a vital role in making sure that the economy, the system, fionse fintu file inda. If you talk of drivers, truck drivers, shima ina imbo mkuba. Bangana bika pama trucks to transport that. A driver will take that to transport to this destination. Mwarash ta se driver ala fola. Mwara poka shirindarama. Shimaina ala fola. So, it doesn't matter. You can be a ego, for example. I'll give you an example. I've been an ego before. I've done these ego jobs. I know. So, I've mocked that before. So, I'll give you an ego. Now, quarter 100 kwach. Like, I'll give you an example of ego, how they operate, because I've done that before. Ala ima 04. Baraba na maya wa chef ya kufuara. Ego, ala ya padia, ala shitabotu ya kufuara. Ala isa mungu pisha kuri baraba ntoba mma banks na msha noba shakwa tenshita ya kuya kusala ula. They will make a profit. Bonse, it doesn't matter. Even the person that sells sweets. That's why they pay tax. Because ala ya kungura ka packet ka sweet mu retail much. There are people that they can't go to a shop to go and buy. Ala monomu anararira ka sweet. Mpeniko ka sweet ako bashta. Inch kushireya, that money, that person has gotten the money. Economy end. So it's all these things when you think about them and you look at Zambia's economy, it worries you. There's nothing moving. Everything is just on. And if it's on, you see that's going backwards. Sometimes we're told we're going forward, but we're going backwards at this rate. In terms of economy or economics or economic management, whatever you want to call it. So, I've talked of the agriculture sector, I've talked of the mining sector, and I've told you why, and how bad it is. Every sector of the economy complements each other. Inga ile bomba iyara sta survive. Bala rima bala bashta. Maini nuku chonse. But on top of that, we are talking of people here. We're talking of employees. They have to be healthy. For any country, you need a healthy people. For productivity, you need a healthy people. For a miner to go to work in the mines, they go under ni health. You won't get a job. So we are talking now, coming down to health. For these sectors to function, you need a healthy personnel. Because there will be less productive. If I'm not feeling well, I won't be productive at work. So, even the health sector is failing. And the education sector, Upnd. But if you look at the education sector, when a child is hungry, agriculture sector or the cost of living, that child won't be able to access even the same free education. These are real issues. Abraham said, I found a load of tomato which was thrown along Kitwe Kalulushi Road yesterday after people failed to buy. Those are the things. So Yarama law says, somebody has incurred a loss. Money ya feed a fin. So, yes, we've given you your free education. You own it. But even that free education, a teacher and a pupil won't get educated if they are not healthy, if they are sick, if they cannot get better. A teacher won't go to school and teach if they are not healthy, if they cannot get better. So the key amongst all the sectors of the economy is to have a healthy people. Because then productivity will be high. Then you have people that are going to go for work. So even the health sector, we want to acquire this. This is what I'm saying. What is plan B? What does the Upnd government have up their sleeves? That's going to shock us to say, oh, okay, they failed in 2022, but 2023 bachai. That's all we're asking. What is the plan B? If this is what the people are facing, what is plan B? What do you have up your sleeves to show the Zambian people to say, we'll work on these things? I'm raising these issues because 2023 is 2 days from now. Or even 1 day from now. And some hours. So we all know the issues surrounding the health sector. And now we hear COVID-19 is back. And in the budget, I don't think they allocated anything. They allocated any surplus in their budget, any contingency, if you want to call it, in their budget 2023, in case of unforeseen circumstances happen. So now we hear COVID-19 is back. How do they handle this? Because if you don't, people are going to die. You have to handle it. And given the fact that the kind of health services or sector, the kind of health we've had this 2022, it's worrying. Apart from the health sector, the high cost of living. High cost of living. You were promised. These are the things that you were promised during campaigns. I remember posts like, the president should not travel when the economy is in distress. This is how you know the economy is. There was so many posts about Ubungo Kudula, and at that time, Ubungo was 150 kwacha, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. At that time, cooking 5 liter, I think he had the 200 kwacha. So there were so many things that were saying, oh, Fintuna Fidula, how can Ubunga Blade Durobo to produce Mucharo Mwesu? Ubunga Taufide what do? But let's show you. There's a mundu. There's a humuru. Don't mess with God. Because people spoke like they had solutions. So this high cost of living now, instead of it coming down, contrary to the campaign promises, going up. And they give you 10%. Whenever they civil service, 10% is so for example, 10% from pere, go for a 5 pin, take home after taxes. 10% of 5 finishing 500 ka ni 5.55. No, but even if that 5.5, once they give you that 5.5, they increase fuel, transport costs, production costs. And then on top of that, they raise taxes. 12% from Perea. So let's say 12% of, say, maybe take home, I'll just average it to 5 pin. Right? So if we say 12%, Yeah, so we're talking of ka 600 per month. If you go for a 5 pin, 12% of 5 pin is 600. And if that's like gross, for example, what taxes? Because they've raised taxes. So they give you 12%. And they increase, how much taxes have they increased? Because I think they've increased taxes. So it's mind games. It's really mind games. What I'm saying that after you pay tax, you're not better off than you were. Because you increased 12%. How much tax has been increased now? You know, tax is like more tariffs, like ZESCO, for example. I'm not even talking like Idamuda pay as you earn. I'm talking of utuma indirect taxes. When you like high tariffs, high transport, you know, fionze fila. But asangati tapali 12% is too little. It's too little given the high cost of living. And you give, and this is where the what's not fair. Because now they've given the public service much increase by 12%. How much has the private sector much increment? Private sector has also been told to increase about 30 something percent. Because let's see. Who for like, I think somebody who gets 1.5 was Nishan percentage. I don't want to lie. More private sector, which I spoke about. Help me out. How much percentage in private sector? So either way, I know that the private sector has been told to increase more than the public sector. But if you look at the issues I've outlined, how the sectors of the economy are performing, you'll find that it's also risking some job losses. Because if the business is not doing well, there is absolutely no way the employer is going to pay that amount. The only way is to lay off some other people. So it's really mind games. It's really mind games, and it's not good to play with people. That's why I'm saying that I want to know about show. What if I'm a temper, especially social media? People are coming on social media now, pressing away when I'm a temper, but they want to insult you just so they can feel good about it. It's really mind, because if you look at the environment, the business environment on its own, it's not conducive enough for even like the private sector to survive. And then you ask them to say, okay, I'm not against with Ukulunde MP private sector. I was actually going to talk about it to say, you know, but I'm looking at the other person, how another person is going to be affected because of this increase, because of the kind of environment that we have at the moment in Zambia. So it's another issue where the high cost of living is escalating. And tomorrow, I think fuel is going to go up again. Problem, people running the government, they want to run government, or they want to run Zambia like a first world country. You know, these people, these people in my first world countries, they've got everything lined. Even when they increase things, they know people can afford, people who have jobs. And where people loses jobs, they are going to claim benefits. So you cannot run an economy like Zambia, like a first world country, because you've got so much high unemployment levels compared to the people that are in employment. Therefore, your taxes, the tax revenue is so low. This is why you had the minds to extend that. And this is why government had FISEP is to help out the people, because it's not a lot of people that are in employment that can be able to afford all these increments. It's a lot. So I've spoken of fuel, increasing fuel, high cost of living. The other thing I would talk about is how much opposition leaders were arrested just for criticizing the government. The arrest of opposition leaders. We're talking of Tayali, Madam Savoy, Sean Tembo, the blocking of Harry Karaba, just going by church. You know, this, and this is where I say selective justice. The selectivity in the manner in which justice is being employed in Zambia is not good. I think UPND can do better. So even on that, they are failing because justice should be equal. You know, injustices, there's no justice. If one person has done the same thing that's wrong, like for example, in the case of Tabo Kawana, where, you know, Charles, whatever, that guy went to report him and whatnot. You know, we've seen a lot of opposition leaders that have been reported for defamation of the president, Kuma areas, Ukwingi, and they've been arrested. You know? So, an equal treatment of opposition party leaders. And anyone, because we've seen where cadres, this is why I say the removal of cadres. No, UPND have not removed cadres. UPND still have cadres. We've seen what's happening. They have cadres. They tried, but they didn't even reach halfway. And this time around, I always say UPND cadres are even online. We have UPND cadres online. You know, when you come here and insult me, you are a cadre and you are insulting me. Instead of you debating with me on issues that I raise, I don't insult. You come and insult me. You want to intimidate me. You want to bully me. You want to call me all sorts of names so that I cannot speak. That's also cadreism. It's not just about Ukfuara Jumbo and things like that, like PF did. And if your cadres had ways, if your cadres had money, they would be doing 10 times worse than PF. And I'm telling you this because just look at those two cadres that you have, where people have been saying for months that there's no medicine. And you come and insult the Zambian people, Murimbwa, Umitoko Shaba Kushpatar. Are you telling me that's not cadreism? And when you talk of cadres, both UPND and PF are to blame. I blame both UPND. Those two parties are the ones that are intensified this cadreism thing.
I scored 4.
Oh, nice.
And the other team has 0.
Okay. Me, this is where now responsibility and ownership should be taken. Because in as much as PF had cadres, UPND had cadres. They still have cadres. And now, even of cadres that sing ati akatanshi takadi shaba PF mwale sarula naifwe bene ture sarula, and they're being institutionalized. Akatanshi takadi shaba PF mwale samwa naifwe bene ture samwa. Is that not cadreism? When you think we talk of cadreism, you just think, oh, ma jombo and things like that. It's not. But even Nama Jombo, even UPND and Nama Jombo, these guys used to fight. So both parties, when it comes to cadreism, I blame PF for tolerating their cadres. I blame UPND. Because even UPND had cadres, and they have cadres. And when you're dealing with cadres, you have to deal with it in an equal way. The justice way. If you're going to castrate a PF cadre, the same way, castrate a UPND cadre. And that's how you can fight cadreism. If you favor your cadres, once they break the law, they do all the nonsense they do, you let them. And then you just get that one because that person represents a different party. Then you're not fighting for justice. Then you're not fighting cadreism. Because what that will happen will make those your cadres grow big-headed. And this is what we are what we're seeing on social media. Where cadres now, they go hospital, they get drugs, they come and insult the innocent citizens. Citizens that have relatives that have lost their lives. So, cadres are there. That just sleep. Instead of him sleeping, he wants me to sleep. Who is he to determine when I should and should not sleep? Stop it. If you have nothing to say, and I don't invite people on this platform. So, this is what I'm talking about when I mean cadres are online. They can't debate. They want to frustrate your efforts. They want to frustrate you. They want to call you names. And usually, I've noticed, like, you know, what happens. This is why, you remember when I said I'm going to be banning people on the page. The thing is, this is how society works, right? If I continue tolerating those people that insult, they're actually enticing other people, weak minds, to follow suit, that's the only way they can talk about issues. So, other young people are falling at prey to these people. You understand? So, it's better that you minimize the number of horrible or insults or what, so that some other mind cannot be corrupted. Because when you see these people that insult, they are corrupting even good morals. Children are on social media nowadays. So whatever you do, a 12-year-old is seen to say, that's how you talk to people. It's okay, Kylie, it's fun, you laugh. But this is where now the society is getting destroyed. Because we have people, grown-ups, that can't reason, grown-ups that can't think of the future. You call me Ule, what. I've got nephews and nieces on social media and they're saying that. So the best way to deal with such behavior is to minimize it by banning those people and just deleting. After all, why they're saying that? They want to see your reaction. They want to think they've gotten to you. I don't play such games. So I will just ban you. You insult, I'll ban you. I'll lose nothing. You understand? So that's the route we're going to go 2023. I'm not here for clouds. I know how to get clouds. If I want clouds, I'll get clouds. Zambia is so easy. Social media Zambia to get clouds. It's very easy. But I'm too smart for that. Kupanga poveka viral video. Now I have viral, I get clouds. But at what cost? You understand? So, this is why it's important now to start minimizing the level of insult, because these people are corrupting young people's minds. They're destroying the society. When you have a society that can't reason and debate issues in a diplomatic way, the young ones that are growing up, and these young ones are growing with social media or internet, and the more they grow, the internet is becoming large, at a larger scale. So they'll look at that and they'll think it's a norm. That's how it should be. So I would like to play a role in a society where at least I try to minimize that effect on the young ones. So like this man, Happy Chama, let me just ban him. So he says, I guess Tamwaupwa, Uyumunguru, who do you think can be wasting his or her bundles to listen Kufia Bupuba? Sleep, don't make noise, stop making noises. And he's here. See how ignorant people can be. He's here, typing, listening, and saying he would listen. This is how ignorance at its best. Now, for Katai carried. He's here using bundles, listening, typing, instead of being with his wife in bed. He's wondering if I'm married. Absolutely ignorant. Pathetic. So when you go to the exchange rate. The exchange rate, the UPND government gave us this artificial gain of the kwacha. And all along, most people ask, is this gain genuine? Press singers were busy celebrating. 2 months down the line after that kwacha appreciated, we had the governor, actually. It's the governor that said we used 1.3 billion in reserve to curb the depreciation of the kwacha. They came out in open. They said that. And as soon as that was done, now the kwacha has continued to depreciate. I said this yesterday, where it's hard, if you are using this artificial intelligence to play around with the currency, you're just making it more weak. The only reason that the government can work on or adopt is to increase its exports or get as much revenue from whatever it exports outside. In this regard, copper, we're not getting any revenue. So as long as we are not exporting enough, the kwacha will continue to depreciate because the demand for the kwacha will lessen. So we are an importing country, so we are importing more than we export. People buy from us less, hence they don't need the kwacha. But when we increase our exports and a lot of people buy from us, the demand for the kwacha will be high. And the kwacha will appreciate because of the increase in demand. But because we are an importing nation, we are spending more foreign currency. We have to find foreign currency for us to import. It can be dollar, it can be yen, it can be pula, it can be whatever trade. But that's determined from the people that we buy from. So for example, South Africa, we will have to spend in rand. You understand? If you go to South Africa, you have to spend in rand. You look for rand to go and buy in South Africa. So there's no demand for the kwacha. There's less demand for a kwacha. And as long as it continues like that, the kwacha will continue to depreciate. So the artificial intelligence of playing around with the exchange rate is just going to harm us even more. Because as soon as utuma foreign reserve or utuma foreign money to kwete tuapwa, it will still carry on. And then that's even going to make it worse. So, FYI, guys, FOE. So if you look at the number of issues that I've raised, that in 1 year the UPND has really lagged, it's a lot compared to what they've done. It's a lot. People say, oh, there is peace. You think this is peace? Somebody comes on the live and once you think this is peace. Just that forever me to alikuwa thick skin ile yako bati. Na ngwatu kana. Tachachite penetrate. Tachachite penetrate. Eyes on the goal. And the goal is to ensure that these leaders, any leader, whoever comes in, is held accountable. It's high time Zambia became alert. It's high time even the poorest of person in the society can have some sort of benefit from the national cake, not just a selected few. And it begins by talking about these issues. It begins by raising awareness so that the government knows that people are aware now. It's not just a matter of telling people words. It's about actions. People want to see results. And it gets you to where you research. You ask questions. The CDF, the way I've asked, where's this money? What has happened to this money? How is it going to be used now since it was not used? All these questions has to be raised. And this starts by the society. Sensitizing the society in a manner which they are able to hold these people to account. It doesn't matter your position in the society. You have a voice, use it. Use it. Use it in a manner that I use it. I've not insulted one bit. I've been insulted here, but I've not insulted. I've talked and analyzed the issues. So even if whatever, how are they going to arrest me? Because these are issues. These are issues that every Zambian, regardless of their status in the society, is going to face. Others may be rich, won't face it, but the majority of the people in the country will have to dance to this tune. I've not defamed anybody. So I urge you youths, start using your bundles wisely. Go out there, research, come with information. We discuss here. This whole thing, I think it helps. I think the UPND are watching. This is why they're here insulting, because, you know, there's no need to respond. Why waste time responding? You just, you forget, you move on with your life. And that's how it is. But all these issues is the issues that you and I have seen, you and I have witnessed. Today the US dollar is 18 to 26. And I kid you not, on Monday it will drop. And if it drops, you will know why. But it's going to just damage. I've told you, it's only just going to damage it even more. It's a dangerous way to play around with the exchange rate or a country's currency. The only way we can improve our currency is to increase the amount of exports, what we export, so that the demand for our currency can be high. Other countries can start looking for kwacha so that they can buy our products. Nalanda Fiafula. So, now that I've spoken, again you put the wine. Now that we have some land dasha gonna imambela go to my like see utuma kise za poma queen koko ka kise apo ka hat fidia na mfako kwene mwanchafi yako kula nchafi hapa na jana nde kula 2 hours ya kwana almost 5 minutes to 2 hours. So if you want to bakwalisa, so as to alanda pali to analyze, I hope you've enjoyed this analysis. I hope you've really enjoyed it. I hope it has given you some highlights. I hope we can continue sharing ideas, you know, like the way you've opened my mind to say how death penalty like that. We are today useful if palakasain. Muntuchi palakasa each. Very important. If you have this, use it. Very important. It will take you far. Just the brain. Don't forget about the boobs. Forget about the ass, the hips. This. Forget about this. But forget about this. Ladies. Mbulo Brighton. Hi, how are you? Forget about boobs. Forget about the ass, the hips. Forget about the face. Each. Very powerful too. There's one thing that any human being has the power to, is this. But this also can be your weakness if you don't use it. If you don't utilize it. It can be your weakness. But it can also be your greatest strength. So, you guys, I'll see you next year. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being part of this family, for being part of this dialogue, for being part of this page. I appreciate each one of you. I appreciate your contribution. I want us to be able, you know what, I think let's do a must stream, like StreamYard, for example. When I think what we'll do is we're going to create a platform and then bring people on. Because just bringing people live on this, my network drops. I don't know why. So I think we're going to use some different technology. We're going to use StreamYard. I'll set it up, everything. I'll set it up. And then link. I'll send you links. It will be streamed on Facebook. And then if you want to join, we'll have people joining with the links. And this is where also technology is very, let's not just, I think in the Zambian environment is so inclined with just Facebook. There's so many platforms that we can use to interact. So when I create that and I send you a link, please, all you have to do, click the link, put in your name, and then we'll stream it on Facebook. And then we'll be talking like that. I think let's work on that in 2023. Let's create a platform where we can bring in people and then people can have a say wherever they are. Mufrila, Copper Belt, wherever they are, Kumushi, Mayo, Nefibe Mbasana, so we bring in people so that people can start speaking. People can tell us, we hear it from the horse's mouth. Muzo, thank you. McLeod Tembo, thank you. KBP, good night. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, guys. Tule bomba, takudi ba UPNG, bakatora muamano. No, I think it has time people, politicians, because you know what's happening? When a politician lie, the more people are getting less interested in politics and they think every politician will just lie. You know this saying that people have started saying, politicians, you're all the same. Mamanaka. So I think we need to change that narrative because kukawa voter apathy there, but people won't turn up because they are saying, nanguna hashtag you benabadi afebeka tapabef chinja, So you don't want that in a society. You don't want that. So I think when we do these things, that's how we provide checks and balances. It's not up to the UPND to tell us how we should provide checks and balances. We provide it. As long as one say, to the happy today chindika, but you change. How we provide checks and balances, that's your freedom. That's how you do it. As long as you don't let insults. I'm discouraging insults. When it comes to issues, you talk about them, never kuluba. Just don't go personal to say, hey, what, wabench. We just talk about these issues. Don't run. Hambo King. So thank you so much, guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful tomorrow. Gamleang celebrate a new year. Karen pamayanda. Me, nalikuwa ruinga imo. I stay home. I don't go out on New Year. I will stay home until next time. 5 weeks in Tambira pa window. So no chimukasa amwe tukafiro kuingira na I want to see each and every one of you in 2023. I want to see you guys. I won't be live tomorrow. I won't be active on Facebook tomorrow. I'll be with the family. So, yeah. Mulubanga family. Who wanna call family? Yes, Mula Brighton, I'll do that. I'll work on it, and I think 2023 we can do that, and we can just be able to. I'll send links. I'll put a link on Facebook so that you guys can just click that link, and then we start the dialogue. I really want us to have that dialogue and debate and whatnot. So we'll do that. So I want to see all of you, each one of you, in 2023. Naughty. If you are going to know, and then I start asking, let's all be good, stay home. You lose nothing. You don't need to go in a club to celebrate the new year. You don't need to. If you are working tomorrow, be home. And celebrate it with your family. Go into your new year with your loved ones. Intact time. So many things have happened. And it's a privilege to be alive. So you don't want to lose your life over some silly decision. I mean. So please Be safe. Take care of yourselves. And God bless you. And Happy New Year from Queen Coco. Chase! Chase, chase, chase. Who's that Queen Coco? Alaba new don niba punka economics too much. Yeah, I'm up and Peter fast. Oh, that's nice, Simple. Yes, that's good. Coco Pala, say hi to Mom Francis and go to church, Bunny. Thank you. Yes, and that too. Yes, please. We'll make sure we're home. Mama gets close. No one steps out. I love my small family. Please, Mulu, praise. Please be home. Please be home. You don't need, family. Be with your family. That's all you need. So I won't be active tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'll turn off my Facebook. I want to dedicate tomorrow to just being with my family. So this is Happy New Year from me to you. So good night. The getting me the shape where chirimbo. Eh, mwarisha kone echi. Echi chirimbo echi. Just family if ever pay no ashtanga tuma wine tuma brai inshkushidea.
The TUI Live Happy sale is back.
Oh, Mulo, that's nice to know. Thank you so much. God bless you too. God bless you, my people. God bless